What is going on, guys? My name is Drakesy and welcome back to a brand new video on this channel. Today's video I'm going to be running through done deals, rumours and potential transfers that could be coming up very soon in the footballing world. The way I'm going to do that is through the media of FootWiz and showing you, the actual cards and what they'd look like when they get potentially transferred through to the new teams. So if you do like this style of video, be sure to like and support my channel. Be sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for much more, so I can see that you guys like these videos if you are new viewers to this channel, and then I'll make much more of this similar content in the near future. So thank you very much for doing that if you have done, guys, and let's get on with the video. So starting off this video, we're going to start off with Yannick Vestergaard. Yannick Vestergaard used to play for Werder Bremen and has now transferred to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Now this is a done deal. This was announced the other day, I do believe either yesterday or today as of recording. So it's going to be a very new transfer, that has just gone through. So Yannick Vestergaard, I think he's about 25 years old and he's about 6'4", 6'3". So he's a pretty tall guy, but as you can see in FIFA he's not that usable because he does have 44 pace. But if you don't know, Borussia Mönchengladbach have actually qualified for Champions League football this year. I don't know if they've done it in previous years, but I'm guessing because they have qualified again this year, or maybe for the first time in a while, they want to strengthen the squad. So buying good young potential centre-backs and new players around the squad is what they want to be doing, building up that squad. So a very good deal there. Moving on to the next transfer, we've got Paulo Garcia is what I'm going to call him. I always mess up that middle name when I try and say this, so I'm just going to stick with Paulo Garcia for this bit. But as you can see, this guy transferred from Getafe now to Sevilla in the La Liga, or La Liga, sorry, not the La Liga. But as you can see, he's a pretty basic card. I do believe he had an upgrade earlier on in this year. I think he was like a silver rated 71 card, and this is upgraded card from the January upgrades. So as you can see, pretty basic card, but new Sevilla signing. Moving on to the next guy is going to be Steve Sidwell. Now Steve Sidwell, you may know, actually did play for Brighton and Hove Albion, which is the club badge here, as you can see. He was on loan from Stoke for this year. So this card does already exist in FIFA, but it has but he has actually been announced now to have officially moved to Brighton and Hove Albion for a 1-year contract deal. I do believe that is because his contract at Stoke ran out, so he was no longer a player there, and I do believe he was a free agent. So he's now transferred for a 1-year deal to Brighton and Hove Albion. Now this is a very good deal because this does link into the next one. This next deal is going to be Lewis Dunk. Now as you can see, Lewis Dunk has actually been linked to Crystal Palace. He's a youngish centre-back, English centre-back. He's about 25 years old, and as you can see, he's got a Team of the Season card. Now this Team of the Season card that he did get was for playing for Brighton and Hove Albion. Now that is the club that he's currently at as of this moment, but I definitely know 100% Crystal Palace put down a bid of £5 million, British pounds, the other day for Lewis Dunk. So it looks like that he could be one leaving Brighton and Hove Albion, and that's why they possibly brought in Steve Sidwell on a as you can see, they brought him in now on a 1-year contract because he's a kind of defensive player who's experienced, who can shore him up, and I do believe he had a pretty good career all season this year at Brighton and Hove Albion. But yeah, this deal looks like it could be going through very soon as well. He's kind of an unknown player, maybe in the lower leagues he's well known, the lower league than the Premier League, that is, but as you can see, he could potentially be going to Crystal Palace for around £5 million. Moving on to the next one is going to be Sam Johnston. Now Sam Johnston, I do believe, plays for the academy, or under-21s Manchester United. He is officially a Manchester United player, but obviously he's not up to the pedigree and quality that Manchester United are looking for. They prefer somebody who is world-class quality and stuff, and Sam Johnston doesn't look like he is up to that quality and up to the potential that he needs to be in the United squad. squad. So it does look like that Sam Johnston will be moving on, and the team that he will be moving on to, it looks like, is Aberdeen. Now Aberdeen, I do believe, are looking for a new keeper, the Scottish team that is, Aberdeen, sorry if you didn't know, and they are looking for a brand new keeper, and he's particularly young as well for a keeper, and particularly young for a player as well, so he could be that new replacement that Aberdeen have been looking for. Now there have been a few links, and I did look around, and there were a few statements saying that Aberdeen have actually been looking and scouting him, so this one could actually potentially go through if all clubs are happy and the player's happy too. Moving on next is Wojciech Szczesny. Now, Wojciech Szczesny has actually just spent a year on loan at Roma, and he looks to actually want to extend that for another year as well on top of that. So he's hoping that he can stay there for another year. Now, the source that I saw actually said he doesn't think that he could possibly get his place back at Arsenal as the #1 goalkeeper, because he does actually feel like he would actually be behind Ospina and Petr Cech, so he'd be the third choice keeper. So he obviously wants a bit of playing time but doesn't want to leave the club, so he actually wants to go out on loan back to Roma for another year. Moving on to the next one is going to be Kolo Touré. Now I'm not too sure whether this guy's contract is actually running low and going to be running out and expiring soon, or whether they're just looking to move him on, but Kolo Touré looks to be signing for AS Monaco very, very soon. This is through to rumours of AS Monaco looking happy with the deal and wanting him, but he's quite an experienced and old centre-back now, but could actually be the fit that they're looking for at AS Monaco. Moving on to the next one is going to be Johnstone. Johnstone is a very, very well-known player now, into the England team at the Euros, and he's a pretty good player on the ball. I'm not too sure about his defensive duties. I do believe they could be improved, but the team that's after him is apparently Chelsea. Now this deal could be going through as Ronald Koeman, or Ronald Koeman, however you prefer to say it, looks like he wants to be the new manager in charge of Everton very soon. Now whether this is the style of player that he does look for in the centre-back, whether it is or not, if Chelsea come in with a big enough offer, he possibly will sell him on to potentially bring in players that he believes fit his playing style a bit better for cheaper money as well. So Johnstone could actually be on his way to Chelsea this summer. Moving on to the next one is going to be a bit of an odd one, and that's Boaz Myhill. Boaz Myhill, I do believe, is West Brom's first choice keeper, or possibly second choice, I'm not too sure on that, but he is a keeper at West Brom at the moment. But the newly promoted Burnley manager Sean Dyche looks intrigued and has actually said that he wouldn't mind signing Boaz Myhill as his first choice keeper, so that could actually be potentially going through in the very, very near future, as the manager's actually come out and said it himself. Moving on to the next one is going to be Loic Grabban. Now Loic Grabban has been a bit of a journeyman these last couple of years I suppose. He's been about a bit to different teams and never really fit in there, so the team that he is linked with at the moment is Bristol City. Now Bristol City are in a few leagues below the Premier League, but at the moment Loic Grabban is actually at Bournemouth at the moment, so this deal could actually be going through, as he's out of favour at the moment and isn't actually, getting the playing time that he probably wants. Therefore, he could actually potentially be moving on to a new club. That club looks to be Bristol City. Moving on to the next one is going to be Stephen Fletcher. Now, Stephen Fletcher did actually go out on loan to Marseille, and I'm not sure who his home team are. I think it might be Stoke. I'm not too sure on that. But anyway, the team that's interested in him is actually Brendan Rodgers' new team, Celtic City, is it Celtic? I think it's just Celtic, but Celtic Football Club are looking interested in Stephen Fletcher, and this could be a perfect fit because I do believe he's kind of out of favour at the teams that he's been at the moment, and is actually, I believe, running near the end of his contract. So he is a Scottish player as well, so maybe that will be a good fit for Celtic, being a Scottish team. Possibly that could be a deal and transfer made in heaven. So moving on to the next one is going to be Joe Allen. Now another player that could be moving back to his home country, or home country club kind of thing, is going to be Joe Allen. Joe Allen is currently at Liverpool, but I don't think he's in Jurgen Klopp's future plans as a player. Whether he does actually favour him or not, Swansea are actually interested in bringing Joe Allen back, is what the transfer, the source that I read said. Now I'm not too sure about Joe Allen's past, and I wasn't actually aware that he was at Swansea City, but apparently they did say bring him back, so I'm guessing Joe Allen used to be at Swansea City and they're actually interested in buying him back and bringing him back to Swansea. The next signing that we're going to be looking at is going to be Ibril Sidibe. and that's going to be basically a pretty basic one. But I believe Sunderland, like spokespeople, or actually Sam Allardyce came out and said that he was interested in the player, and the player does actually play in France at the moment for the team Lille, I believe it is, or is it Lille? I think he does play for Lille at the moment. And the player's actually come out from hearing these statements and said that he's honoured to have been linked with a Premier League club, and does actually find it quite a compliment. So there could actually be some truth in this, and the potential that he could actually be moving to the Premier League is very, very possible. He is a very Sam Allardyce signing and could actually be happening, so that's a potential deal. As well, he has also got a team of the season. Now that doesn't mean much in real life, I suppose, for what the players actually like. He might not convert that well to the Premier League, but he seems like a pretty decent player that could be coming to Sunderland very, very soon. Moving on to the next one is going to be Andre Gomes. Now, Andre Gomes has been linked about to a few teams at the moment. He currently plays for Valencia, and if you don't know, I do believe Valencia finished about 10th in the La Liga, or a bit maybe, I'm not too sure, but I believe they finished mid-table and didn't have that good of a season, and they haven't got Champions League football, which is where all the rumours surrounding Andre Gomes have come from. Now, Andre Gomes has actually been linked to two other teams, Manchester United and Chelsea, in the Premier League. And if I'm being honest, I do believe that these rumours are actually just BS and not true, because why would you leave one club that's not got Champions League football to potentially two other clubs that haven't either got Champions League football? So the most favourable club that has come out in transfer rumours is actually Juventus. Juventus have said that they have been scouting him and do actually look interested. And just a quick one, if you see the positions of these players and they're not right, as Andre Gomes is a centre mid and it says striker on his card, that's just due to me putting him down into a team. So just totally forget about that. The positions I've not changed them to look like that, and just if you can get over that, I'm sorry. Moving on to the next signing. The next signing is going to be one that's been hitting all the headlines recently. That's going to be Jamie Vardy. Now, as you can see, Jamie Vardy has been linked to Arsenal. And to be honest, guys, I don't see much truth in this. I don't know whether there's actually been a contract that's been put down. All I have heard is that Arsenal were kind of interested in the player, but he is around 29, 28 years old now. He's getting on a bit in striker years, should I say, in football years as well. So this deal that could actually potentially go through in some cases, but potentially not in other cases. I mean this in the fact that he's getting on a bit now, so maybe he might want a bit of a pay rise, because in the end, football is like only a short career. You can't do it forever, so maybe he wants that big payout before he quits and before he ends his career, and Arsenal would be a perfect fit for that in some cases. But in other cases, the issue that I have with this transfer is the fact that Arsenal kind of don't play to the way that Jamie Vardy plays. So whether there's truth in this, I'm not too sure. All I know is the player himself has come out and said, I don't want to debate my future or tell anything about my future until after the Euros. So this is kind of an old transfer in terms of all this, but it's the first transfer video I've done, so I thought I'd stick him in. But as well, he's also come out and said that he's not going to tell his future until after the Euros. Moving on to another Leicester player linked to Arsenal, that's going to be N'Golo Kante. Now, the player hasn't been directly linked in himself in any transfers, but the transfer link that has been made is that Arsene Wenger came out, and I do believe the words he used is N'Golo Kante is a rare breed of player, which does link that he is looking at him and does favour him and does see him in a good light, as many critics do in football. They see N'Golo Kante as that kind of sweeper, the guy who sweeps up and does all the dirty work, doesn't really get the applaudits, but recently, if I'm being honest, has had a lot of plaudits around him, a lot of favour around him, and did actually start for France the other day in the Euros. So he is actually in that starting squad for France now, and he's actually getting into the national team for his country. He's had a very good season for Leicester and could actually be linked and possibly moving to Arsenal, but they have an absolutely stacked midfield at the moment, guys. I think Arsenal are like 95% midfield, so whether he would actually move to Arsenal, it's a bit uncertain whether he would or not at the moment, but we'll just have to see at the moment. Moving on, we're going to go to another deal that has been around like the Jamie Vardy one for quite a while. That's the Zlatan Ibrahimovic to Manchester United one. Now, this deal did actually spark up and come about very recently when Jose Mourinho took over as manager of Manchester United. There was a lot of links and headlines saying that Zlatan Ibrahimovic is a free transfer this summer from PSG, and Manchester United want to see him at United, obviously. So this one did get a lot of press and a lot of coverage recently. And Zlatan Ibrahimovic came out and said to the press that there will be an announcement, I believe, on the 7th of June. So all the press were hyped and believed that he was actually going to announce that he's going to become a Manchester United player next season. And then they all turned up for him just to announce in Zlatan Ibrahimovic fashion that he's got a new clothing line, and that's what he wanted to announce. That was his big future deal. So in Zlatan way, he kind of tricked everybody and made all the press turn up. Very, very good way of getting media coverage, because everybody believed he was going to say he's a Manchester United player, but instead he's just got a clothing line. Typical Zlatan. But anyway, this player has come out as well, just like Jamie Vardy, and said that he doesn't want to actually confirm his future until after the Euros. He wants that to be his focus, and then he'll come out and say what he's doing with his future. So moving on from Zlatan Ibrahimovic, we're going to come up to Alvaro Morata. Alvaro Morata has been linked to quite a few clubs, one of them being Real Madrid. He's been linked there. I do believe he has a buyback clause from Juventus for about 25 million. So it's actually quite a low number, but I do believe Real Madrid are after buying Lewandowski. So maybe if Real Madrid go after Lewandowski, they can't quite get him, they might go for Alvaro Morata. Whether that's true or not, I'm not too sure, but Real Madrid do have first dibs on this player, so they are the ones that get to say yes or no first. And they do get him back for quite a cheap price. But I believe he's played like 32 games for Juventus this season, scored 7 goals, which aren't the best stats. But I'm not too sure if he's been injured this season. I'm not too sure if he's had other things going on. But he is quite a clinical striker. But one of the other teams that has actually come out and been after him was Chelsea. And Chelsea said that they did want to sign him. But the only thing that's come out and made me put Manchester United next to his crest was the fact that he actually said himself he would prefer to play for Manchester United than Chelsea. So that's quite big news. Now, whether that means anything, the club haven't come out as far as I'm aware. But Manchester United are his favourable club, maybe because of Jose Mourinho. I'm not too sure, but we'll just have to see. Moving on from there, we've got another Manchester United target and possible transfer. That's going to be Henrik Mkhitaryan. Now, Henrik Mkhitaryan's Henrik Mkhitaryan's contract does run out very, very soon at Borussia Dortmund, and it's such a shame to see another world-class quality player leaving Dortmund, but he said that he doesn't want to renew his contract, and I believe his contract does actually run out in about 6 months. So in January next year, about that time his contract will run out and he will be a free agent, meaning that teams can pick him up for absolutely nothing. So obviously Dortmund don't want to do that, but the player is refusing to upgrade and get a new contract with the club. So it's a bit of a shame to see. So Dortmund, if teams come in for him, they're going to likely try and sell him on and get a bit of money. Now, one of the teams that have actually apparently come in headlines anyway that I've been reading, are Manchester United. So another possible transfer for Manchester United there. The next one is going to be an absolutely incredible nuts one. Guys, Middlesbrough have actually come out and said they want to try and sign Radamel Falcao. I'm not having you on, guys. Literally 2 years ago, this guy was in the Champions League playing for Atletico Madrid. He was one of the most in favour, most clinical strikers in the world. Everybody wanted this guy at their team, and Atletico Madrid had him. Basically, Monaco managed to buy him. He then got a leg injury after a year of playing for them, then tried a loan move to Manchester United and absolutely flopped. Moved back to Monaco, then Chelsea tried to sign him, and then he was an absolute flop there again. And now Middlesbrough are trying to sign Radamel Falcao. I'm not having you on when I say this, guys. This is genuinely true. Go and check it out. Seriously, guys. Moving on from there is going to be another transfer, and that's going to be Miralem Pjanic. Miralem Pjanic is actually a transfer target for a lot of teams like Chelsea again, Manchester United are another team, Man City are a team that are after him, and I do believe Arsenal were in talks as well. So many teams around the world are after this player. I believe that he did actually commit his future to Roma for another year. There was a lot of talk around him last year, but he said that since he's not had that much of a good year again at Roma, he does actually want to be possibly moving on to a new team. This is apparently talks that the player has said himself. But apparently one of the teams that has actually come out, one of the spokespeople for Pjanic that has actually come out and said Pjanic is actually possibly on the verge of signing for Juventus. So that'll be absolutely incredible signing if Juventus manage to sign another world-class midfielder. Whether this will happen, whether Roma will sell to a direct rival, we will just have to see. But this player honestly could go to so many different teams, it's unreal. Moving on from there, we've got one of the last players is going to be Carlos Bacca. Now you may think this is a bit of an odd one to include, but honestly guys, there is reasoning why I've done this. Carlos Bacca is apparently a massive target for PSG, the French team. With the departure of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, as I told you, for a free agent, they kind of want to get a pretty good striker replacing him. You're not going to really replace Zlatan, but you can try your best to get a pretty good striker in there. And the striker that it seems that they're going for is AC Milan's frontman, Carlos Bacca. So that's who they're apparently going for. And now we're going to come to the last possible signing, guys. Yep, you can see it guys, it's Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. Neymar could potentially be signing for PSG. Now, I honestly don't see this one happening, but then again, PSG are very rich. They're a very rich, one of the richest teams in the world, guys, and if they want a player, they will splash the cash. And how much they're willing to splash for Neymar, who is potentially one of the world's best players in a few years' time. When Messi and Ronaldo retire, this guy is basically the guy that's going to be taking over from them as the best player in the world. And apparently PSG really want him, and it does make sense, guys. I mean, whatever money they probably spend on him, they would probably make back in shirt sales in about 2 weeks, because this guy is so globally known. He's like a franchise. Seriously guys, Neymar is one of the biggest names in the world. So this deal could actually be happening, but then when you think about it, will Barcelona sell somebody who is potentially the future of football? We will just have to see. But that is going to be my wrap up of all the transfers that have been in the news recently. If you have any transfers that you do want to see me get down in the next episode, then make sure to write it in the comment section below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, everything you can do to support this channel. Thanks for watching guys, and see you in a bit.